That, vote, and then we'll dismiss this meeting and go into a building and finance meeting. Thank you. All right, the only thing is to purchase real estate. Ms. Sherry, there's an appropriation ordinance. Well, there's really can't hear Bill.
I can't hear you. Pull your mic, Michael. I can't hear you. I can't hear any of you.
Got a motion?
And a second.
Motion and second. Discussion now. Yes, ma'am. After the discussion. Ms. Sherry?
Appropriation ordinance be enacted by the Quorum Court of Columbia County, Arkansas. An appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance amending and supplementing the annual operating budget for the general fund of Columbia County for the year 2014. An appropriation ordinance adjusting balance brought forward and supplementing the county building budget. Whereas the Quorum Court voted on Thursday, March 20th, 2014, to purchase the ISFA building. Whereas we are hereby adjusting the balance brought forward by $336,500, of which 90% or $302,850 is available for appropriation. Now, therefore, being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Columbia, State of Arkansas, Article 1. Quorum Court has found and determined the general fund budget for calendar year 2014 as appropriate by appropriation 2013.31 is hereby amended as set forth. Article 2, that the Quorum Court did on March 20th, 2014, adopt the amended budget supplementing the general fund, specifically the county's building budget as documented below for the purpose of purchasing property, supplementing general fund 1,000, county building budget 1,00111, 1,00111, 4,002, capital outlay fixed assets building 302,000. Article 3, pursuant to Arkansas Code Annotated Section 1414-907, this appropriation ordinance shall be effective immediately upon passage by the Quorum Court and approval by the county judge. Date of passage March 20th, 2014.
This ordinance be adopted.
Second. Motion and second. Now discussion on this ordinance.
Yes, Bill, could we just explain exactly where it is close to possible, layman's term, where that building is located?
Yes, sir. It's located exactly right behind the annex building. And I think several of the GBs in the past have viewed it a year or two ago. And that's what we're trying to purchase. Okay. Further discussion? Mr. Davis?
And what exactly are we going to use the building for?
Several things, mainly storage of records. It's a good vault area, along with probably other, if we move forward, Mr. David, I think you know what we're trying to get to, there's several things we've got to go in line. This is the first piece of the program we're trying to put together. We'll probably move some office, out of the annex building in particular places. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Do I understand that we don't need an elevator in that building?
That's something we've got to look at, Mr. Drake. If it's going to be a public building, then we've got to look at putting an elevator or a lift that will get you to the second lift. Yes, sir. The lift will be cheaper, long shot, I'm sure. But we don't have a price on that. We've got to get this done first.
Is there a criteria for who gets to go to that building?
Mr. David, I don't know if we've set down any rules regarding that. All of y'all will be involved, I'm sure. Anything else?
Yes. When will it be available?
Well,
Sort of buy this building.
understand as soon as we can, and the mics may not be working again, sorry, folks, is at least 90 days notice.
So by this summer.
Yes. Anything else? Okay, we take a roll call.
Ms. Blair? Yes. Ms. Cook? Yes. Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. Hardwell? Yes. Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Pate? Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
We got that one done. Okay, entertain a motion to dismiss this meeting.
So moved. Second.
Not for you, then.
I'm just going to choose Lee and Nelson.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're closed on the Quorum Court meeting. Ms. Marjie, you want to try to conduct this one? Ms. Gean? And I do not know why these don't work. Now they are.
Now they're working.
Gotta hold your mouth just right.
We can, if y'all can. We need to go in this other meeting.
Appreciate everyone being here tonight. As most of you know, we have considered building a courthouse annex for almost as long as I am old, and that's really old, I'm teasing about that. But it has been on the table for a long time, and we put it off when we were building, or talking about building the hospital, because we were told that if we pushed to build a courthouse annex at that time, that the hospital tax would never pass. And so we took ours off the table, and we waited. And so now we think that it's time to start talking about this again. The committee has met, and Mike Trull has actually, he's back in back. He drew plans for a building back several years ago, and as with anything, as it sits there, it changes, so I'm not sure what status we are now. We did ask the elected officials at the last meeting to review the plans and see if they had anything that they needed changed before we start looking at a final plan. Also under consideration is adding to the detention center at the jail to provide the sheriff with more space for possibly the deputy prosecuting attorney, some of the judge's offices, and some of those things to be added out there. And as all of you know, Judge, can you hear me? Judge Chandler is located in the building across the street down here, and they're having major problems with it this week. And I don't know if the judge found a place to relocate Deputy Judge or not. That is something that's going to have to be done immediately. And questions were asked about what we would use the ISFA for. And if we are able to do something with the current annex building, then we would move the people in the annex building probably into the ISFA building, probably. combining the circuit clerk's records with some of the probate records. That's not a done deal, it's something we discussed. That would make it easier for people who use the records to just come to one place to find those records. And I have said over and over, and most of you who know me know that I do land work. I am very, very concerned about the condition of our records. David's an attorney, he knows how important those records are. The more we use them, the dimmer they become. And what I would love to see us do is to get those records scanned into a system so that we could have our records on the internet, coming and going, have them on the internet so that people could access those records online, and we could charge for that service, but our records will not be being used all the time, and we could preserve them for future generations. And if we don't do that, there will come a time when people will not be able to check titles in this county. And it's fast approaching if we don't preserve those records. We have a lot of civil cases and things like that that are spread all over the courthouse, and those need to be preserved. So this is an important part of the history and land titles of this county, and we're charged as more importantly, we're protecting those documents. This new building is climate controlled, and when we can get those documents scanned, a lot of our hard copies can be housed in this building and can be preserved for many, many years to come. And then if our scanned copies are lost or if they become illegible, then we can go to those documents, make another copy, and still be in business. If we lose the hard copies that we have without a backup, they are gone. And I know that the circuit clerk has seen during the time that all the landmen have been working here, that a lot of people who use our records are not careful with them. And they'll take documents out to make copies. Sometimes they get back in right side up, sometimes in the wrong place, and sometimes they're gone. But that is important, and everybody needs to be concerned about that. So, at this point, do we want to ask Wayne to show? Okay.
Okay, you were talking about the climate control building. Are you talking about the new building we're building? Not the one that we just put the wood in. Okay, okay. So you're talking about the one now, we've brought back to that level. It's not the new. Okay.
Let me ask the audience, would you like to ask questions at this point, or would you like for Mr. Trull to show his plan?
Sound like Mr. Wayne's on this. Before, Mr. Wayne.
itself is about 126 by 250, okay? Which is pretty limited as far as what we can access as far as parking on that lot. From previous sketches that we did, with Blair, over 5 years ago, that we discussed this, we had discussed parking basically on 3 sides of the building. From information that I received from the judge a couple of weeks ago, try to eliminate some of that parking and expand the building a little more. So I've expanded the building almost 8,000 square feet from what we saw 8 years ago. So we're looking at over 15,500 square feet per floor. Okay. You look at your 8.5 by 11 sheet, and you look at your 8.5 by 11 sheet for just a second. Okay. In the left-hand column there, again, these are the kind of the new square footages that we'll discuss. Okay. And then on the right-hand column, we're looking at what is pretty close to existing without the vault areas that those particular departments have. Okay. So you can see there's some expansion. The tax collector is expanding about 30%. The treasurer's a little more. The assessor's about 20% more. The county clerk would be almost double because we're looking at some election things that have to happen in that area, and they need the space. Okay. The revenue office, again, it's just greatly expanded. So you can just see down the list there the things that we're trying to look at, more space available. Much of that being in the vault area, though, okay? We're looking at possibility right now, again, a 2-floor building, 2-story building. Again, it would be totally accessible. We'll have an elevator in it. The small plan that you have there, and again, there's a larger plan here that we can discuss from, but it may be easier for you to look at the smaller plan there in front of you. As you enter from Calhoun Street, again, there's a foyer there, and we're actually trying to put I'm going to say a monumental stair on each side of that so that people can go up and down without getting into the fire stairs. There are fire stairs on the east and west side. In this, in building up the code, we've got to have 2 basically fire stairs on each end of the building. From that, it's really blocks of space within that first floor that we're trying to designate. Now, the layout of those spaces, these are lines on paper. We're just beginning the discussion of what we're looking at. So the flexibility of this particular plan is great in that nothing really is designated other than we're expanding the space that they have today. So that's where we're trying to go. How can we achieve expanding more space for each particular department and then still having some space unoccupied within this building? That will end up about 1,500 square feet or so of this particular building, 1,500 to 2,000, would be unoccupied at this point or not designated for. Okay, so there's still some extra space that could be expanded. Judges, whatever offices are needed in those particular spaces. Again, I don't want to get too much into the specifics of this. I have not at this moment had an opportunity to go back to the departments to verify how they would like that laid out. But this is a similar layout to what they have in the existing spaces, although it's expanded. Okay? The offices are bigger. Each area also has its own toilet. Okay? So we're trying to, again, upgrade the space so that once you're within the space working, you can stay within that space pretty much most of the day. There are public toilets. That's a good idea in a courthouse. To have public toilets on both floors, okay, and they're stacked. One new thing in this particular plan that really we haven't discussed before is a quorum court room. A quorum court chamber room. It's on the 2nd floor in this particular plan, upper left-hand corner. But it's a room that, again, is permanently set up. Hey, you don't even have to move the mics, okay? So it's permanently set up, electronically set up, so that it can, everybody's basically in a semicircle, and it can have as many as 120 chairs within it, okay? So it's a flexible room. But that's one of the new things we're looking at within this facility, that a permanent space could be set up for quorum court. and I think that this is just, again, this is the first shot, okay? Lots of things I think will change between now and toward the end. One of the things we're looking at, though, is a very monumental building. It is a county building. So some of the characteristics, some of the materials that are used on this building, we're trying to identify and will carry forward, like columns, okay, like brick, like stone, that would be on the exterior of the new building. Okay? Now, I've just talked very generally about this. If we want to get very specific, that's fine too. But again, I think that's more toward the department issue. Let me talk monetarily for just a minute, if I may. I'm going to jump forward, fast forward real quick. Again, you're looking at about 31,000 square feet for the building, a little over that. I'm estimating that probably we're looking at somewhere between $180 and $200 a square foot to build this building. Okay, you're looking at about 6.3 to 6.5 million to make this happen. Okay, that'd be all the site work and everything involved. I'm open for questions at this point.
And the main thing is, Mr. Wayne, what you just said, this is all preliminary.
Very preliminary.
If the
Very
numbers don't
preliminary.
work, we can cut back, modify.
It's so preliminary. You told me to do this 2 weeks ago. I immediately took a week's vacation, so we really haven't had a whole lot of time to discuss this, okay? So there's a lot to do, a lot of work to do. We're just scratching the surface, but I'm trying to give you some information on the front end to say, this is kind of the scale of what we're looking at. This is the layout of kind of what we're looking at. This is the dollars we're trying to look at, okay? So we at least have something we can put our arms around.
And that's what we have to do, because as Judge said, if what we propose is more than what we propose, then we'll have to cut back.
I can't imagine you'd have to do that.
And I hope we don't, because we probably won't build again for 100 years, and it's better to build now for what we need than to have to come back. And that's kind of where we are with the jail. We need to talk about that a little bit too. But I might point out, we have the revenue officer. You might wonder why we have them in that position, but a lot of times the revenue office is open when the other part of the building is closed. And what we found is that we have people all over our building and unsupervised when the revenue office is open. So this office is laid out so that they would have outside access to the building and could be locked off to the other part of the building when they're open. Other buildings.
And you could get to the public restrooms, you could get to the corridors, those type of things to egress out of the building. But beyond that, yes, you could cut off everything related to the rest of the building. Yes, ma'am.
Does anyone have any questions of Wayne or anyone regarding the plan?
One of my questions was the isolation of the revenue office. I'm not seeing an outside entrance to the revenue office.
Again, I haven't put that in that at this particular point.
Okay.
But there is, because it's on 2 perimeter walls, it could easily be accessed from that west side or the left side there, okay? You see the weighting that wraps around that counter on the left side? They could easily walk straight into that.
I think we asked for that recently.
At that point, you don't have access to the restroom.
No, you would, again, all the perimeter doors along that corridor, every department would have to lock up their space so that they could only get into really the public restrooms or the corridors themselves. Of course, there'll be crash bars on all the doors so they can get out in case of emergency. Okay, so again, that's just something we just recently discussed. I didn't get it on here, but those are things we just keep documenting, keep having a solution for. It'd be nice to have a little vestibule too going into that space from the exterior. So.
Are you looking at flat roof or a fixed roof?
The magic answer is pitched. Okay, it will be pitched. It will be at least elevated as much as this pitch here. Okay.
And I believe, Wayne, that you indicated that it would be better if we did not have a basement and that we went out instead of preparing for a third floor. Would you comment on that a little bit?
Okay. say a safe area, okay? A basement, of course, is the best area, but you know as well as I do, in South Arkansas, it's not if it will leak, it's when it will leak. So I'm trying to say at this point, I think we've got enough space around this building to do what we need to do without going and submerging it. We can definitely make some of these areas a safe area without the perimeter glass and basically give you that safety without going down another flight of stairs. So I'm moving in that direction, not planning a basement at this point because I think it's just something that you will have to maintain the rest of your life. And I'm trying to guard against that, okay? It's not that we may not do that, but right now I'm planning away from that. You have another comment here? Maybe, I can't remember.
The third floor.
Oh, the foundation of this building will be designed so that it could support at least one more floor, okay? So that could happen. Now, you know as well as I do, that's a tough thing to do, okay? Very difficult to do. But you're only talking about 2 or 3 more % for the whole cost to make that foundation support that. So that could happen really very easily and not a lot of money spent to do it.
David, you want to ask your question about the?
My other question was going to be towards Marion. When we preliminary started talking about this, we knew it was an estimate, but we were using an estimate of 150 a square. We've now jumped to 180 to 200. What is our estimated revenue course with the action of the 4% tax?
Another, I don't know, I haven't looked at that, I know that's on mine. But, we paid for the jail in 7 years, it was 3.9 million. So, I would be guessing, but, probably add another year or 2 on that, I don't know. I have no basis. I haven't done the estimating, I didn't know how much it would be.
That's gonna be your bond people,
Yeah.
Mr. David, when you get that.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, what type of revenue would taking a 1/4% of the solid waste tax, what type of revenue would that bring to the table?
24, is that 3 million? 24 to 3 million, what, 750 to 800?
800,000.
That's, if everything sort of remained as is right now, it could change, we all know that.
Again, 2 things have happened over 6 years, and you know that. Not only the cost of the construction, but again, we've expanded this building again another 8,000 feet. Again, all that's to be debated. We may say pull it back, okay? But at this moment, I'm pushing the envelope.
Something to it, well, not going to the third floor, went ahead and put the third floor there, made it completely unoccupied. But
Let's just assume again, for mathematics here, look at 15,000. You probably would build it for, I'd say 100 or less per square foot. So you're looking at another 1.5 million, something like that. 1.8,
But-
somewhere in that neighborhood.
correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Wayne, that was before we actually expanded the building.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and
So
I'm
really no need to.
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm going to ask, what are you going to do with it? Okay. Again, we've got unoccupied space here on these 2 floors, and you just purchased another building for a lot of this storage. I've just questioned the need of that at this particular point. Again, you may have that need, but I'm unaware of it.
The only possibility that I see is at some point, if this building could not be maintained, the circuit clerk's office would have to be moved
Moved into that. And she, she has basically the north half of the first floor. So we have to duplicate that square footage. And I'm sorry, I don't have that at my fingertips. I don't remember. Larry, no.
It's about 75 feet or so long,
think he's looking at much more, so I'm not privy to that information at this point.
Some of you probably won't remember that when we built the detention center, we did not plan to have a courtroom in that building. That was supposed to be all facilities for the sheriff, his deputies, his interrogators, the state troopers, FBI, anybody who came in. And then later we added the courtroom, which has been a great benefit, I think, to our county to keep from having to move inmates outside the jail facility. But it has pressure room, and I think that the deputy prosecuting attorney and some of the circuit judges have agreed that they would be glad to be at the jail, have their offices there. That would facilitate them hearing cases and talking to people and having the officers available. So that would do away with some of the other facilities that we have and have had to maintain. So that's part of the reason for doing this also.
As Moses said, Calvin Knight moved into that jail and they compared it to prison. It was, not adequate office space. You can see a little cubicles that he built onto that building. That started within a few months after he left. And that last minute decision that was made to put that courtroom out there, that did away with our office space. We started working here a year or so ago about an annex just to house CID. And we do have some plans on that. Now, last year, myself, David Butler, I don't remember, one of the judges,
Larry Chandler,
yeah,
Dave Daly.
and we sat down and decided what their needs were. And we were able to make the existing office space at the facility work for all of them with some space for spare for their own. If, instead of building the annex or CID, we just moved the whole sheriff's office out. We sat down at staff meeting 2 weeks ago and started doing some rough, and I mean rough, drawing. My deputy that's good at this sort of stuff wasn't there that day, so I sat down to try to do it. It's going to have to be reviewed. I'm going to have to ask some help, just a little guidance.
Again, you and I have not had any conversation about this, so again, we're kind of breaking the ice.
One of the reasons that we have not done that is, as I understand it, if we have told you that we're out money and we've been trying to wait. We have been trying to wait until we see that it's a possibility before we spend that money.
You know, all this is very preliminary, you're right.
I think we have it down, just a little bit of help.
Okay.
We have the concept,
You know, square footage wise, what you're potentially adding?
not at this point. We have the concept in our minds and rough drawing we're looking at.
Okay.
But as far as trying to get it to scale, make sure the offices are put in there properly, and CID segregated from, the rest of the workings out there. We've got it, we just need help. Trying to get it from mine to rough paper to something everybody can look at. Whenever the full court wants to let me take that over step.
My suggestion would be do almost what we've done here, is just do some very rough ideas of what can happen in order for the county to put a budget together, what we're looking at, and then you basically tell us what to do from there.
Is that what we need to do?
So what we have to do is to, again, finance this.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole.
We're trying to give you that idea of what that number would be. Again, I don't have anything toward the end of that ledger of what that's going to be. But I think it could easily be done very quickly.
But the sheriff does need some space. He has indicated 40s were raised in 2 years. So we're really having to pinch pennies to do everything. So our idea with financing these two projects would be to take to the voters the idea of diverting 1/4% of the solid waste tax to the bond issue to repay this, or whatever time it takes, and then that money would go back to solid waste. At this point, as I understand it, we have sufficient funds to carry us through normal operations for the period of time for us to be able to finance this. Now, some people have said, well, you've got plenty of money in there, why don't you use it? We can't use that money for anything but solid waste as it stands right now. But at some point, we will have to close our current landfill. We'll have to do all kinds of engineering work and spend millions of dollars to do what we need to do to close that one and open another one. So this money is, we need the money in solid waste. It's not that we have too much there, but we see a window of opportunity to be able to build something that the county can be proud of and that we can utilize at this particular time. And the longer we wait, the more it's going to cost. And I think we desperately need both of those buildings, and I would hope that we can get the corporation that we need to do that. So, any comments on anyone?
I think that was a chance for people to voice their opinion. Mr. Field?
I'll be glad to speak, please. Last time I got up and spoke, y'all were here, remember, Justice, very me right here, so hopefully that comes out. Anyway, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm speaking for some of the people that have business on the square. Margie, since you did most of it, voting and talking about this, when you mentioned that the circuit clerk would still be in the annex building,
She will still be here.
like in the courthouse, so would everybody leave the annex building, go into the new building?
When you say everybody, the county judge would and the county clerk would. And the county clerk, the circuit clerk, and the county judge are the only ones here currently, right?
No, I'm talking about the in the annex, like the revenue department,
Oh,
tax
yes.
assessment.
Yes, yes.
Y'all would totally vacate and move.
Right.
Like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I did make a quick round around the square and talk to a few people before I came. A majority of the people that have a business on the square are against you moving off the square, naturally. And I think is when you said the building back there, that if y'all move back there, we still feel like you're part of the square. If we took Cosmopolitan Ladies Club and moved it into that building tomorrow, we're not part of the square. And people that drive back there aren't necessarily going to drive back up here to shop. If y'all bring 200 people to the square, 200 vehicles to the square in a single day, we might not get 5 people to do business with people on the square, but we might get 50 or 60 of them. But if you move back there, you're for sure fixing to take away whatever amount of people that are coming into that office off the square parking, and you're going to create less business for the businesses that are here. And I understand wanting to pull in and having a new place to go and everything being what it is, but you're talking about trying to take 1/4% of the waste tax, and you're going to go to all that trouble to do that, get it on the ballot, and try to get somebody to support it. And my thought here, which I relayed to you, is from some of us that, said instead of going that route, you're going to have a lot of spots. Because anybody that owns a business on the square can't afford it, and they're going to have to put up signs or do whatever they have to do to try to keep you there. If you go, in my opinion, you're going to try to need to find another route, because we'll be talking to the people that come to their stores, and I don't know where y'all think you're voting. And I'm not threatening anybody, I'm just talking. And I'm hoarse, I can see it. I don't know where you're planning on your back support to come from people that are going to vote for y'all to have in your place, but my opinion is not going to be that route, because there's just going to be so many of us that have to not be for it. And whether I'm a business owner there in a year or 2 years when all this comes apart, I'm still be standing with these people, because I'm a moving business. I drive around squares every day. There's only one other square that I ever drive around that's like me. just trying to keep the building from being torn down. And it's still standing, not that we had anything to do with it, but even putting a cinema or whatever in there, that's gonna create some good business from 7 o'clock on. It's not gonna help any of these people have a business, they're not still be gone. All the traffic comes there during the day is not coming till that night. Keeps the building there, gets another business to the square. But, you know, if you look around, some of these people that own businesses, you know, a year and a half after you move, they're not own a business, they might be just because you live. That's,
Well, I appreciate that, and I will tell you that we have searched for a spot on the square that we could build. So if you guys want to help us to find enough space that we can build on the square.
we kind of all know that's not there.
Well, and see, that's our dilemma. I mean, we're not fighting you guys, we just need a building, and we don't think that building a half a block off the square is gonna hurt your business. And,
You know, in 2 years.
if we could find enough space to build on the square, it would be wonderful. It would give us better access here. But are you gonna help us line up some of these businesses and say, okay, we'll sell you this whole block, and you can build a courthouse there? You're not gonna do that, right? And so, that's,
I mean, we can't solve your problems. I know you're trying to solve your problem. The way you're gonna try to go about solving your problem, taking a half cent and having to put it to a vote. I don't think it's mean. And then it's gonna become about the bill. I've already heard something you've heard too, that the city is gonna ask for 1/4% of that too. And that's another whole ball of wax. It's gonna just create one problem after another problem. You gotta do what you gotta do. As far as what from business owners that I've talked to, that's one thing, they just can't do that. So it's, I think free time.
Bill, I'd like to make a comment on what you just said. Sitting there listening to you, looking about the merchants, and from my own personal standpoint, somebody who believes in shop local, because that's the way my dad taught me, keep the cat stalls at home if you can. And someone that does a lot of business on the square in the legal field, I know there have been many times when I've come up here to do legal business and pop into a store and spend my money, which is the point that you're making. But at the same time, I can think of times I've come up here just to shop and can't find a place to park. So it may not be as detrimental as the merchants are thinking if your customers can think it is.
I did have, I don't see it here, I did go by one of the merchants and I said, asked them about this and she said, wow, this will solve a parking problem. I thought, yeah, it's gonna solve a parking problem. So you park sideways 3 places is all of it. And that's the way it'll be. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, it's gonna solve a parking problem. Every time there's a place to park, somebody's not gonna shop. You can't find a parking problem, you have to do a square.
I understand, I just know I've had to leave and not make my purchase before out of frustration.
I know every business owner here wishes there wasn't a parking problem, but not one of them are tickled to death to see you have to drive around and find a place to park to live somebody's businesses.
Oh, I agree, yeah. I'm just for both sides.
Sorry, Ms. Bennett.
That's all right.
Just for public knowledge and statement from me, I'm just a voter like y'all, I'm just a citizen, but it's easier for us not to do anything. We can sit here and just get by. That's what's been happening in the past. We're trying to move this thing forward for the future. It's easier for us here, just sit here and put these papers together, fix this leak, fix that leak. A lot easier. We don't take it on a huge task.
We don't have to go work with your building. We don't know your problems, we don't know how much space you need. What you're talking about storing record punched, it's something that you need. This looks, from our standpoint, you decide to stand with it. We don't know what we can afford. That'll be told in years to come.
If I might say something, our intention is not to move off the square at all. I have this vision of enlarging the square and adding to the square. And we're not gonna leave it, I mean, it's gonna be really, really nice. Have you ever been to El Dorado? You go down side streets and it's all part of the square and it's really nice and it's really pretty and it's lit up nice. That's what our intentions are, is to enlarge the square. It's not to shut it off.
I understand she's saying, we do our alley, make front doors at the back doors where people can come either direction.
But what I'm saying is your front door gonna be.
No, it's across the street, south.
They're saying different.
You're hearing different. It's on the south side of Calhoun.
So what they'll do is walk out our back door when we fix our back fronts, but they're gonna walk around your building to come into the back of the building.
No, they're gonna walk right into it.
Where
You
the
walk
jail-
across
where the
that
jail-
parking
where
lot
the jail
that's
is.
behind you, across that street and into the front door.
Put the parking lot between the jail and this new building, would be, that building would be facing the back alley of our.
A lot of our parking would be right behind your,
Where we all park.
right,
That would be all over there.
Well, and one of the things Phil's mentioning, of course, it does help the revenue for the merchants, but every dollar spent on the square is taxed. And if you lose those dollars that are spent on the square, you're losing tax money. I mean, think about it. Our square is the calling card. Main Street, Arkansas was here a few years ago speaking to the merchants on the downtown square. The first thing she said was she was so impressed that we still have our county offices on the square and we have government businesses here. She said so many counties in the state have done away with that, and it's a death sentence. They are ghost towns because of it. It just takes the traffic. No matter if the parking spaces may be full, it always looks like there is activity going on in the square. And yes, El Dorado is wonderful. There's activity going on, but their courthouse still has activity going on. They haven't moved off.
so will this one.
It will still have activity, it ain't going nowhere.
And I think if we have a good building back there, that other people will build around it, and it'll make all of it look nicer. And like I said, people will be parking right behind your stores. You just have the back door that they can access your business. You have business from both sides. And
Is the sheriff's, was some of the sheriff's offices gonna be in the new building?
No, it's all, I'm bringing that
I
up.
was fixing to say, I'm sorry if I'm asking
it
you.
will be at the detention.
I appreciate y'all's time.
Until we know that something's coming up there, we don't need one more empty building. Lawrence is getting ready to be empty up in here, this whole side is getting ready to be empty. And we don't need one more empty building on this building.
And if we looked into the cost of renovating the annex, if we want to stand them, like you said, we want to stand them, we looked into that, and we looked into warrants, and we looked into all the possibilities that are coming up, and that's another thing. We haven't looked into it, then what are we moving forward with without looking for
So
stuff?
I didn't know that Lawrence was moving. I thought they'd be there forever.
But their original building will, that all of this around the square is getting ready, that whole front side of Lawrence plus for the old apprenticeship was getting ready to all be empty.
But we have had people look at the annex building, and they do not recommend that we spend any more money on it. It will not be renovated at any reasonable price, and
Well,
that's
but-
just not a possibility.
If it can't be renovated at any reasonable price, then how do we know we're gonna be able to sell it and somebody's gonna be able to renovate it if it's not gonna be a reasonable price?
And Ms. Angela, that's the smart reason, because their requirements are
But somebody had looked at the possibility of putting a movie theater in there. It's not a done deal. He's still looking over the plans, going over with an architect, blueprints, trying to see what kind of investment's gonna be, because it's gonna be substantial. We're talking $1 million to pour money into that. But it would have to be a kind of business that would make it profitable to put that kind of business in, and there's only so many of those businesses that go around. So if you don't like movie theater, give us another idea. I can't think of anything else that would go in there at this point, that somebody would be willing to invest that kind of cash. The profitability as far as your hours, it won't be open probably on your normal weekdays, but I imagine a lot of your merchants are gonna be thrilled that Saturdays are gonna be bustling, and so will holidays. That seems to be your biggest holidays of your selling season. We're not ready to move on quite yet with this. We're not voting on that yet. All of this is preliminary, as Wayne Trull had suggested. Same thing with our deal on this building, and then looking tonight was just one of the pieces of the puzzle, which was to get the IFSA building. And hopefully, the idea was to utilize that building as sort of the transition building, put some of the offices that needed to be moved out of the annex building, so that it could be used, or somebody could have needed access to the annex to renovate. I wish tonight things had moved a little quicker. We would have had the representative, the guy, to come talk to you in a little more detail of what his plans were. He's just not quite ready. The timing is a little bit off, and it's going to require extensive talking with some SBA loan officers to get that off the ground. But yes, we're trying to be prudent with it, and we don't want to just leave another empty building. But as Margie said, it's going to be inevitable. That building, we've looked at it. I'm not in favor of leaving a big gaping hole. I'm on the square too. I was in favor of that. But it looks like it's going to be inevitable. We'll have to do something with it. And I don't think the future is going to be with Columbia County building offices.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you talk about putting a theater in there, I'd love to see another theater in Magnolia, but, you know, even assuming he gets all of his funding, all of his ducks in a row, what makes him think that he's gonna have any better luck than Cameo did? Because the Cameo, it shut down, you know, so I'm wondering, you know, what makes him think that he's gonna be able to generate enough revenue to be profitable?
Well, again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. He's not here to sort of explore that idea himself, but he is working with the department out at SAU that deals with small businesses, and we're in Arkansas with that. So as far as statistics go, he's pouring over those as we speak to see if it would be. And the general consensus, at least preliminary consensus, was he could make it work because he's already doing another movie theater in a town smaller than this and make it profitable. And he thinks Magnolia being a lot bigger now, also being a college town, make it work.
I kind of have a different perspective than Margie's. I'm in and out of the facilities here very frequently with my business, and I agree that something needs to be done. With that being said, Margie said a while ago, talking about the third floor of the new building that would be used potentially for the circuit clerk's office. I think that we all are aware that eventually that's probably going to happen, maybe 20 years from now, but you're going to have another space for the circuit clerk. And where I'm going with this is, Brian, I would love to see the courthouse stay in the square and everything just like it is for my business and for Margie's employment and for the landmen that are here doing oil and gas work. The records all need to be in a central location. The assessor's records and the tax collector's records are part of those records. So I, in my business, utilize the tax books that are held in the tax collector's office and the assessor's old cards frequently, and do not want to have to drive or walk an extra block to get to those records. So selfishly, for my business, I don't want you to move those records any further than they are because it's already an inconvenience to walk across the street from your working records in the circuit clerk's office. When I go to other courthouses, all of those records are in a central location. So I don't know what I want, but I want the records to be in one place. All records to be in one place, whether it's here or whether it's there. And I think that's something that you guys should consider. And just to Robert's point, I agree with you. I'm not trying to disagree with you, but I'm trying to just say it's interesting because he just said he doesn't want to walk an extra block to get his records. Phil was saying 10 minutes ago, we're going to lose customers because they're not going to want to walk an extra block. I think it's proven on both ends.
I don't know that it proves it, but that's just a thought.
Yeah, it's a thought, yes, but it's interesting that that was said, given somebody else, so.
possibly the ones that are the hot ones, that people come in and out. I can't tell you, I talked to a friend, they said, I'm by the revenue office, my friend is helping their mom get a car tag or something else, but like, it seems that there might be some really hot ones that you would keep on the square and let the ones that aren't as important, maybe the people that are shopping. This is coming from a big city perspective, but I shot small town Texas for the last 30 years, can't tell you the little squares I've seen boarded up. And that would just be heartbreaking to me, and I think to this room. It's just something to consider, that there are of those offices, some that are a bigger percentage of people that are gonna walk out and buy something. Just, thought.
Thank you, Ms. Jane.
But one reason that the revenue office is located there is so it'll be close to the collector and the assessor. They're all tied together, so that pretty much fixes the whole thing.
But, and I would disagree with what you just said, but from a guy's standpoint of view, I go shop for one thing and I'm gone. If I'm gonna shop at Jennifer's, which I remember that I don't know the address, I go in for one thing, I'm going to the revenue department, I'm going to the revenue department. I'm not gonna shop, I just don't do it.
We do.
I know.
We don't have very many.
There's an idea.
We line them up. Yeah, here, there, there, there.
I got a question for you, Don.
Yes, sir.
When you drive around the square and find the parking spots as you go into the revenue office, do you notice the other shops that are on the square? Make note of them?
That I live with.
Yeah, so do I. I wonder how many of those I would remember. What I remember is the shoe boxes up there. If I didn't see it every time I had to drive around the square for something. It's kind of a massive bit of advertising. It's the same reason why you put your ads on TV or whatever, so that it keeps it fresh in people's minds. So that when they need whatever service or good, that's the one that comes to the forefront of their minds, so when they go first. So, I'm wondering, how much of an impact does that have? Even if they don't go in, even if they just go in and do the revenue, do whatever they need to do at the revenue office that day, when 6 months later they need shoes or whatever, are they going to, if they had to drive around the square and they saw the shoe box, is that going to put it, in their minds? Or, is it going to make any, or is it going to have no effect?
I can't answer that.
Maybe I can remember when First National Bank was at the annex building, and they still are there. And I know what the walking traffic was around the square. When they moved and donated that building to the county, it was a wonderful gift, just a little bit of a burden too, could be, just a kind of good gift, it's not maybe not the grandest thing in the world, but I know what happened to the walk-in traffic when First National Bank moved out of it, it went down. It was amazing, the amount of traffic that we lost. When the annex building went in, moved those offices over there, we saw a huge increase in walk-in traffic. People that have their car tags in their hand, walking to our business, and getting these business going down the street. I've seen that, I don't know whether it'll be like this time, if anything happens, but I think the consensus here is, it does create a lot of traffic for us. And we have had people come in and say, I'm only in here because I have to get my car tags, or I have to get my driver's license. I've driven by here 1,000,000 times, I want to walk and see what it's looking like.
And I still think, Mark, and I may be wrong, I still think you're going to have that kind of traffic downtown. No further than we are at Square. In fact, it's probably going to expand.
But I've had people, I agree with you some, but I've had people say, I had to drive around, I was going to come in yesterday, but I couldn't find a park on this side of the square. I had to come back today when I could park in the store. Unfortunately, we're spoiled around here, park is on the wall.
But see, they can park right behind you, go to the revenue office and come in your back door.
Where do we go to park? Where's the merchants going to park?
I think, well.
It's your only parking for your businesses.
Yeah, make it look full.
That's where you stay at home.
Hey, Mark, that whole deck's gonna be resurfaced back behind Murphy's, this whole row of building. It's gonna be resurfaced
you're thinking is feasible and what we would think of as feasible when, as a struggling business, you do things when you can afford to do it, you don't do it until you can. And also from a business owner who has Dixie cups taped on my wall at different places to catch the leaks in my old building. But we do it because that's what we have to do, but also because it's kind of the way, I mean, it helps the whole community for, I think, for you to stay, remain on the square and try to make it work, even if it means spending what probably is a lot of money to have a secure room for the records, and, but just to keep you here.
The only thing we could do, we kept the annex building, is to tear it down and start all over again. That's it. And it's going to cost, it's going to cost a lot of money to do that. But we've had contractors tell us that there's no way that we could do it like that, because everything would have to be torn down and start from scratch.
We don't have to propose it. We will propose it.
We got a proposal, $500,000.
And then they build it down.
Not built
We
back.
redid it.
No, Jerry, before I was in the position I am, this and that, I looked at his building, actually, renovated on the billboard at the time, said it was $50,000 cost. We removed all,
Expand on why the county is different than
Yeah.
a business owner.
and I wish Jerry, is Wayne still here?
It's who-
Mr. Wayne, what Jerry had told us in the past, if it's a county building, if you did over a certain amount of renovations, by law, you had to take it all the way down to the foundation and bring it up from that point.
I'm not gonna dispute what he said, but monetarily, you would have to do that. You'd have to bring it up to the standards of the codes that are written today, which almost destroys that building as it is today, okay? So it would be much easier to go down to the existing foundation and come back up. You probably would save money than having to work with exactly what you got there. There are so many levels in that building. That is a tough building, period, okay?
That's the reason I said earlier, whether y'all heard me or not, the requirements the county or a city possibly would have on renovating buildings are different from an individual or business building.
So we really don't know really what we need.
Well, the numbers I had heard years ago was like $2.5 million just to renovate. And that was the first time it existed.
The food replacement cost and the rent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
tear
that's
it down,
why,
turn it over.
I mean, rather than just saying we can't afford it, I mean, we don't know.
Well, also, there's no guarantee that Mr. Phil's building is not coming down with it.
That was my final point. And also, just quickly, this will help you. A lot of you that wasn't here 2 years or 2.5 years ago, or how many years ago it was, they're limited by what they can spend in there according to some laws now. Some laws stop them from being able to renovate a certain number of dollars because the building's not worth that. In their defense, their hands are tied somewhere. But also, whoever said they couldn't find a contractor that would do this, well, there's a contractor. You just keep finding them.
No, a contractor said we can't do it.
A
Contractor
contractor.
said it's not feasible. It's not,
Well, I
don't
mean,
do it, not
that's
worth
like
it.
people that operate on people with cancer. You eventually find somebody that'll tackle it. Somewhere there's a contractor that would tackle it. Now, whether the law limits you money-wise or what, that's your best defense, is we can't do it because the law won't let us, and I understand that. But that might be, a lot of people are wondering, and I can just.
Ms. Marjie, you still know the show. I just want to jump in on that.
Do we have any other comments, suggestions, helps? We really don't want to go against what you guys want, but we have a problem that we have to resolve. We have got to have a place and house these people
I know you're not getting on me, I know we're talking, but like I said, my biggest point is, if you're gonna try to go the 1/4% deal, we're gonna try to reach you. You don't have anything from any of us.
I know that.
And so, before you, I can't say waste your time, I may be wrong, but I don't see y'all's support, or where you can get enough support from the county, of people that want you to have a building, over people on the square talking to their customers and their friends. I just think they're gonna do everything they can to stop you that direction. If you're gonna come up with the money, I think you're gonna come up with a different direction.
Well, when is a good time to do it?
Not my problem. I'm expressing my thought on the direction you're going, and I'm trying to tell you what I think you're gonna face opposition.
The only remedy to give the merchants what they want is to tear this building down and build a new courthouse right here. You can't do it, right? Can't be done?
I even tried to find a way to build on each side.
Yeah, this building's gotta come in, it's like the Arlington in Hot
I have
Springs.
driven and looked, I said, Judge, can we add 20-foot, 2
Yeah.
stories on each side of this to give us the
To
space?
help the merchants with that problem, this place has gotta go, put it right here, then you've got your downtown, like all the merchants want. It's unrealistic based on what I've heard. What I want as a citizen, and what I think, Phil, you're gonna have a problem when you're trying to speak this, is the county people that come in, and the people who are not on the square, who are not y'all. They wanna come to a central location and wanna walk in to the tax collector's office, tax assessor's office, the circuit clerk's office, and do all of those things in one location. You can't do that right now. I want the circuit clerk's office to be in this new building. That way you've got it all. And the person drives down there, and hopefully they'll go and shop with all these merchants, but don't you need to have it, thinking the next 50 years, for all of these offices that are integrated to be together in your new building? That's what I want.
That's what I wanted to, to try to pacify
Okay,
these
well,
people.
it's a
This
sit-
is what we were doing,
Okay.
to try to preserve this building and to try to pacify them, and we're giving, and they're not giving.
Okay, well, if you get, what happens is, for those of you, this county, our main, we got oil and we got timber. We got other industry. The oil and timber business needs these records available. What happens if you don't work the records is you don't know that you go to the tax assessor's office, try to figure out about land, then you come across the street over here. Those offices need to be integrated. So Margie, I would say, I'll go to bat against the Lester with no problem to get it integrated. And we gotta think the next 50 years, and I don't think it's a good idea not to build if we build a new building, to not have the circuit clerk move with them.
That's what I thought too.
Well, now, there's gotta be a way that we can do like El Dorado. There's gotta be, by the way, I went and talked to when we had the Main Street here, I went around and talked to all the merchants myself. What about moving this courtroom out? You merchants want us, the legal business, to be gone so you have more parking? And the answer was yes. Vamoose, get out of here. We want the parking. That's what they want. Now I'm hearing a different story, and you want everybody down.
I wasn't here, in my defense, I wasn't here.
I talked to all the merchants because that's what we were talking about doing because of security. The last time somebody jumped off out here, we said we need to do something about security with prisoners. So anyway, my pitch would be, unless you can move this building, and we've got to go off-site and let's do it right the first time, and don't do a Band-Aid by leaving the circuit clerk up there.
Okay, and David, if you do that, then we've got to have a courtroom. If we take the circuit clerk's office, then I think the courtroom's got to go too.
We, in the Bar Association, we talked about that. I don't know that you have to do that, Marty. I don't know why you couldn't still have this courtroom. We talked about that. Why couldn't you do it? The circuit clerk does not have to be where the courtrooms are. Most of our courts are out there at the new jail, and the clerk transfers their records out there. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think you still have this courtroom. But the dungeon's got to go. You can't use that courtroom anymore. So I assume it's talking about files. We got to think the next 50 years. And not
You have to think the next 50 years, but if you leave the circuit clerk here, it at least preserves this building to a point that money will be spent in it. You take the circuit clerk out of here and nothing is left here but strictly a courthouse we have enough problems with the courthouse as it is, that there's gonna be a time when we're gonna quit throwing money to save this building, and then the courthouse falls down around itself, and it becomes a junk pit, and then people start moving off the square, because it's a pile.
But in the real world though, everything's integrated. So we have to think about having all these systems together. You got a good point, Dave, but we're not, everybody's not gonna be happy with this. It's not gonna happen. Obviously, that's not the
You're
case.
exactly right.
If you go to the square in El Dorado, if you walk around the square, they got the same situation where people come to shop. They're not coming to shop down there in El Dorado because they're going to the circuit clerk's office. That's just not, and the assessor's office is off, I mean, the revenue department is off the main square. So what you do is you walk from the revenue department on the square, like you could walk from the revenue department right there. But I think the citizens are gonna be much happier globally. I'm talking about all the citizens in Columbia County are gonna be happy if they know one-stop shop. But you're right, what's gonna happen to this building? Well, this building obviously needs to be torn down. You can't do it, right?
Well, okay. I gotta say something. First of all, you took Paul Crumpler's words right out of his mouth. Years ago, Paul Crumpler thought that the best idea would be to tear this building down, take the facades off of it, go up, put our facades back, put our balcony. Our goal here is to keep our square. And you're absolutely right, Phil. I drive around East Texas. There's a lot of little towns that their courthouse is sitting there. There's a lot of buildings closed up because everybody's moved off. There's a new annex down the road on Highway 59. That is absolutely true. We can tear this building down. It is on the historical registry, but the Quorum Court here can vote to have it removed. Mr. Metzeler will tell you the reason that we have this building is we keep involved in it, is that's where our money comes. That's where the money comes from the new roof. That's where the money comes from the windows. That's where the money comes from for the doors. So that's the reason we're a part of that. We don't have to be a part of that. We've just, now, I'm saying this, Ms. Harsh just left. There's no one that loves and babies this building any more than I do. I love this building. But I know that the reality is, if we want to keep our square and our downtown and have our downtown to grow, this is the key, is for us to come together and build one beautifully back, just like this. And we've got to have it last more than 50 years. This building is well over 100 years old. She's done a good job for you from the very beginning. But in 1942, a judge presented to the court to build a new courthouse in 1942 right here. They wanted to tear this building down in 1942, but they had a rise up of the people, and they couldn't get it done. Again, in 1960, Mike Kiner, they planned another courthouse. Again, we couldn't get this solved. This has been going on longer than the 25 years I've been here. This has been going on for a lot of you before you were born, or your parents made decisions toward this building. So it isn't that these records all don't need to be kept together. That is absolutely true. But we're going to have to decide here what's good for the next 100 years. This is a beautiful building, but if anybody's gone to Rockwall, Texas, to Dallas, you see a beautiful, brand new courthouse that looks just like this and only 5 times bigger. And I just want y'all to all, when you're thinking about it tonight, in Quorum Court, myself, David, all of us, how this is a building, it was meant to house records. We were blessed that it cost us $58,000, and we were blessed that they were able to build it beautifully. But you can't tell me that we can't take some of the stuff that we've got on this building and put it with our new and build it right here, and that is the perfect solution. But we need to, but it's gonna take money.
Well, it's gonna take, wasn't it, Marjie, you and I have talked about this thing, of course, you're gonna have to, where you're gonna put everybody, but if you were to do that, as Mr. Trull looked at the numbers on starting from scratch right here. Probably, I'm thinking. Okay, I thought.
But we have Ms. Harsh, and her granddaddy built this building.
All right, Steve Lee was like 10 million.
Can't be disrespectful to that
Well,
either.
we're not far off 10 million right now, Ms. David.
Can I, okay, y'all, I work in the circuit clerk's office, and I know how important it is that we need more space, more room, but everybody has good points here. The thing about it is the circuit clerk's office at this point in
ago, they were way down the street. If we lived in a huge city like New York, we would, all of us, I'd have to walk 4 or 5 blocks to get to my office. I had to carry my tennis shoes and drive the subway. Mike Anthony brought this up to a good point one time. He said to me, he says, we're spoilt here because we think everything ought to just be right here in front of us. So if we lived in a huge city like Dallas or even Texarkana, they drive all the way out to Bowie County for one thing. They drive somewhere else for some other reasons. So, you know, that's just, but we're just, everybody's going to have to go home and move on.
Where is the revenue office in El Rey? Is it out on American Road?
So it's southwest of the courthouse, southwest. Courthouse facing north, southwest street, whatever that is.
Okay.
It's a, you know, you gotta walk down the side street, and they've got all those restaurants and all those buildings, something to think about. Do what? Yeah, that's the way they do it, and, anyway. In Utopia, I thought that because of the historical nature, Margie, that there was no possibility that this building could be torn down.
No, it can be.
That sounds like,
David, I don't know that for fact. I mean, I hear two people saying that. I don't have any of that in writing.
Mr. Metzelbar,
I think what you have to do is the money that
you want to
the
comment
county,
here?
the county has received in the past, we'd have to pay that back. Mistake. Richard may not know that answer, but I think that's what I've heard in the past.
I really don't know. I think somebody said to remove it off the registry. And then, of course, we received grant money from the historical preservation. And at that point, they may ask us to return all the money since you're going to tear the building down. I know at one point, when we were talking about replacing windows, we asked them about putting vinyl windows in, and they basically said was, if you put vinyl, we want our money back. Because they are strictly for historical preservation.
well, there you get back to the,
I don't know, David. I really don't know, but that's what I've understood through the time.
end of the day, not everybody's gonna be happy.
But I think we should explore that and see. We can tear this building down. I mean, I know it's gonna be a lot of cost, but at least explore.
And then we still don't have parking. You guys are still unhappy with it. And I can tell you that people in the county could care less about coming up here to the courthouse. I have had many people, more than's out here today, tell me that they'd be perfectly happy if we built a new building on the outskirts of town. We have tried to do something that would work with you guys, and we really need you to work with us. Because if you're gonna fight us, we might as well go out to Timbuktu and build what we want anyway, if that's what we want to do. So, we don't wanna draw lines here. We need to work together to come up with something that's going to work for all of us.
Not that I want to open any new can of worms, because obviously I've done open 4, it's gone everything down, tearing the courthouse down now. I don't know what the base square footage of that building is, but what is it? Around
The new building,
Yeah.
31,000.
Okay. Somebody back here a while ago said Lawrence is leaving. There's what, 3 buildings there? There's only 1 story down toward that end. You asked me a while ago for something, this is the only thing I can think of. I tear it down, build you a 2-story building right there on the square. You've got everything you need, it's brand new. I don't want to open that up to anybody, because I know y'all are ready to go home, but you asked for something.
Well, for sale,
We already own the land back here.
is where Warnick set for sale?
I don't know that it's for sale, but she asked,
I can tell you, it's not. That's why Warnick is moving out.
Well, I'd like to say
No,
right
that's
there,
not why Warnick's
that's not,
moving
they're
out.
not moving up.
They're moving out because, we need more shoppers on the square.
everything is for sale at a
There you
price.
go.
Point blank.
Not,
IFSA was not for sale. And we just made a commitment to buy it. I know it's the Harsh family, I know it's the Warren family, I know they don't give up stuff. But they see the value of a town because they've made the investment. It may not be for sale, so to speak, as a dollar figure. It may be for sale for the future of Magnolia Pleasant County. So, it's at least worth an ask.
Might be a gift.
It might be a gift. But we can't immediately shoot down the idea. I like the idea, I've never thought of it. You can't immediately shoot down the idea by saying it's not for sale, strictly because who owns it. Because ISFA was not for sale.
Well, I have walked around this square, I have looked, said, where is 3 or 4 different things that we might could buy? And there's always one in there that won't sell. So don't think that we haven't tried, because we have. And if something new is opened up, we're certainly open to explore it.
And I'm sorry, I opened my mouth, but that just hit me. That's one thing I
Sure, Warnix likes the publicity, they're put shutting down. Or,
They're not shut down.
No
They're
pressure.
just merging into one building.
you think he's gonna say?
Kim?
Yeah.
That was
That's an
Commissioner
extra.
Wayne, 6.3.
Okay, and you said a 4% from the solid waste? Okay, does this mean that we are or are not asking for a tax increase?
We are not.
No.
No. No.
Okay.
A redistribution of funds.
We're getting it on the ballot?
Yes, that's
Is
the
that
only way you
voted
can.
on by Conway City or countywide?
Countywide. Countywide. It's a countywide sales tax.
Okay, so the money is just being appropriated from another place for that time being that you needed to pay for
Correct.
the building.
Correct.
And then it goes back to that.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
That's how we built the jail.
Okay.
We
And I was
deferred
just
it at
going
quarter cent.
to make my piece about sales tax, because we have people complaining every day in our businesses about the amount of sales taxes, and I was just going to say my piece, which is not necessary, that we do not contest.
I want to say something to that effect as well. I agree, our sales tax is high, but we have not, the county has not gone in that direction to increase sales tax. And I did not see the fight when the city has passed multiple sales tax in the recent years. I didn't see everybody fighting them for that. And it has hurt your businesses, I can assure you, because there are people going to other places to buy because the sales tax is so much higher here. Because I hear that every day just about. I'll go somewhere else and buy it because I don't have to pay that sales tax. So we are trying to, look at doing something so that it does not put another tax burden on the citizens, but yet still do something that is going to be beneficial to the whole county as a whole.
And Phil, I like the idea of us staying right here, if we can get the square footage that's needed.
I have no idea. That's why I asked you about
What size lots those are.
I don't have a clue what the square footage would be of those.
And maybe we can trade them.
Ms. Harsh does wonderful things.
Yep.
Well, if we don't build on the back lot, I've always seen the city putting in an amphitheater during the Blossom Festival. It's downhill, and I've always thought, wouldn't that be a great